Hey y'all, Richard J. Dash, aka Frost Brothers here, and I'm going to do a little something different today. Inspired by Metal Jesus Rocks. I'll put his link down at the channel on the video that inspired me. I'm going to show off, I have a pretty good vinyl album collection going, but I'm going to show off my 20 most favorites of what I own. Either because I listen to them all the time, or I grew up on them, or they're limited editions, and I don't know if you can hear that in the background because I'm using a microphone. But my first one, and these are no particular order, I'm just going to do them the way I feel like it. First one I have is, I bought this brand spanking new when it came out, Misfits American Psycho, released in 1997. The reason why I bought this is there's a heavy vinyl. I can't show you to it because it's being played right now. I'm listening to it as I'm doing this video. But it did have a bonus track at the time that was unavailable anywhere else, Dead King's Rise. There's the sleeve. If you're a fan of Misfits, I liked Michael Graves as a vocalist. I like Glenn Danzig, but I also like Michael Graves. Alright. So, American Psycho, I mean, hardcore punkage. Let's go with some. Let's see here. What do I want to do next? We'll do this one next. I found this in the trash when I was younger, and this is kind of neat to actually own, and I wish I had more of them. It's the American Top 40 with Casey Kasem. To be aired on January 14th through 15th, if you can see that, of 1984. It has everything, all the songs. Here's the song list. Number 40 was Send Me an Angel by Real Life. In the Mood by Robert Plant was number 39. And then it's got actually all the commercials and everything. It's, what is it, 1, 2, 3. It's 4 records, double-sided, obviously. I mean, the box is falling apart and it's got writing on the front of it. But it's still kind of neat that I have this. I mean, I've listened to this quite a few times. There's actually some good songs on here. And there goes the cover. It just ripped off. Damn it. Well, I was ready to rip off anyway. So let's tell you really quick what number 1 was. The number 1 song on January 14th of 1984 was Say, 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 Paul McCartney and Michael Jackson. Number 2 is Owner of a Lonely Heart by Yes. And number 3 is Say It Isn't So by Daryl Hall and John Hall and Oates. Alright. So, next we'll do, I'll just grab them now. Another one that I love, listen to a lot, Kiss, Destroyer. Great album if you're a Kiss fan. Detroit Rock City, Flaming Youth, Beth, Shout Out Loud, Do You Love Me? I love Beth, actually. That's one of their slow songs that I actually enjoy immensely. Great, great song. You guys should all check it out. Detroit Rock City, obviously, if you know who Kiss is, you know that song. Great album. George Carlin, Class Clown, very funny comedy album. This is the one with 7 words you can never say on television. Great skit. I love that one. That's what got me to get into George Carlin, was that skit. Great album. Alright. Next, Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon. This is by far my favorite Pink Floyd album. Not a big Pink Floyd fan, but this is got my all-time favorite song from them, which is Money. So I had to get this. And yes, there's that rumor that this syncs up perfectly fine with The Wizard of Oz if you own the vinyl and you start it right when the lion roars on the MGM thing. I've never tried it. I don't own The Wizard of Oz, so I've never been able to try that. Maybe any of you out there have tried it and can let me know if it actually works. The soundtrack to Stand By Me. A lot of classic old songs on here. Stand By Me, Great Balls of Fire, Yakety Yak, Lollipop, Every Day, all 50s music. But the reason why I love this is because this is one of my top 10 favorite movies of all time. Who starred in here? We got Will Wheaton, the late River Phoenix, Corey Feldman, Jerry O'Connell, and Kiefer Sutherland. Great movie. If you've never seen it, check it out. It's actually based on a story by Stephen King, one of his non-horror stories called The Body. I think that's what it was called. Pretty sure it was called The Body, yeah. And it's actually based on close to childhood stuff that happened to him. Alright, next. My friend introduced me to her a long time ago when this came out. 1994. I should have been doing that with everything, actually. George Carlin was 72. Destroyer was 76. Alright. And that is Jewel Pieces of You. This is her first actual studio release. The reason why I bought it on vinyl, it was a limited edition vinyl. It has it's a 4-record set. Side A, B, and C are all from the album. And then side D actually is 5 songs never released before. So that was kind of cool. The songs I've released are Emily from the motion picture The Crossing Guard, Rocker Girl, Everything Breaks, Cold Song, and Angel Needs a Ride. Which eventually got released on our CD singles from this album, but it's still kind of cool to have this. I have no idea what it looks like inside. I've never actually took the I only cut the plastic wrap open. But if you're a fan of folk music, I know I fell in love with her when I heard, what was it, Who Will Save Your Soul on the radio, and found out who it was, and I had her CD, I had this. I have 2 bootleg of her live. She's really fun live, I guess. I've never been there, but her live CDs, she goofs around a lot. But another great artist. Wow, when did this... Oh, I think I already said that, yeah. 94, okay. And then from 1980, Devo, Freedom of Choice. I think you all out there know the main hit song from here, Whip It. But actually, besides that song, this is actually a pretty politically correct album. Gates of Steel, Cold War, Planet Earth, Freedom of Choice is all about basically freedom of choice. About government, how bad government is getting and the world is getting and stuff. So it's a very politically correct album. Actually, Whip It's probably the worst song on the entire album, but it's still a fun song. Alright. Next up from 1977. I don't know why, but I love every song on this album, and I've listened to it many, many times, is Fleetwood Mac's Rumors. Very good record. Let's see, Secondhand News, Don't Stop, Go Your Own Way, Gold Dust Woman, The Chain. Just a lot. Every song on here is just great. Very great song. I mean, Stevie Nicks. Great voice on her. Alright. Next we'll do Billy Joel's Greatest Hits, Volume 1 and 2. It's a double record set. It's got all of his... I like a lot of his songs, and the reason why I got this is it's got everything on it. Piano Man, Moving Out, Anthony's Song, Only the Good Die Young, Big Shot, You May Be Right, It's Still Rock and Roll to Me, Uptown Girl, Tell Her About It, The Longest Time. And just, there's a lot of his stuff I liked, so I just grabbed this when I found it at a thrift store, because it's all my favorite songs from him. Plus extras. And that was released in 1985. Alright. Okay, 1984. Purple Rain, Prince and the Revolution. I, to this day, still think this is his best album. It's my favorite. I don't have a problem with any of the songs on here. What do we got? Let's Go Crazy, Take Me With You, The Beautiful Ones, Darling Nikki, When Doves Cry was the big hit off of here, and obviously Purple Rain. Which actually kind of cool as I keep this with it, as I still have the Purple Rain single, and it's a purple vinyl. That's Purple Rain on that side, and this side is God, which was a song that was in the movie but not on the soundtrack. And then obviously this is a shortened version of Purple Rain, and this is the radio version. It's still kind of cool to have that little 45, and I keep it with it. Here's a fun one I had when I was a kid, from 1985, The Wrestling Album. I mean, just take a look at some of these. Holy crap. None of these guys even wrestle really anymore. There's Captain Lou Albano in there. Mean Gene Okerlund. That is Vince McMahon. When I was in wrestling, he was an announcer. And then on the back, we got. Surprisingly, Hulk Hogan wasn't there for the freaking picture taking, so they just threw a picture down there. But we got the Rockers, we got the Animal. And then inside, we got Roddy Piper. And I mean, it's got songs like Don't Go Messing with a Country Boy, sung by Hillbilly Jim, Cara Mia, Nikola Volkov, Tutti Frutti by Mean Gene Okerlund, Land of a Thousand Dances by All the Wrestlers, Grab Them Cakes by Junkyard Dog, Eat Your Heart Out Rick Springfield by Jimmy Hart, Real American by Derringer, which is Winham and Rotundo's theme, For Everybody, Roddy Piper, Captain Lou's History of Music by Captain Lou Albano, and Hulk Hogan's theme from the WFL Stars. I just always loved this album when I was a kid, and I've never gotten rid of it. It's still the same one. I mean, it scratched the crab, and it doesn't play the greatest anymore, but oh well. All right. Soundtrack to Star Wars, 1977. This is... What do I say about it? It's a great soundtrack from a great science fiction movie, and just listening to it on vinyl just makes it even better. That's all I can really say about it. I actually have the soundtrack also for Empire Strikes Back, but I don't have Return of the Jedi. And then, from 1982, Michael Jackson's Thriller. Grew up on this album. This is still my original. Half the songs don't play anymore, including Thriller, unfortunately, so I wish I could find another copy of this for cheap. I was a huge Michael Jackson fan when I was in the early 80s. But I mean, there's still good songs on here. I Want to Be Starting with Something, Beat It, Thriller, obviously, Billie Jean, The Girl Is Mine with Paul McCartney. What the heck just happened to it? Alright, next up, AC/DC's Highway to Hell with the original singer Bon Scott. I love AC/DC. I've got a bunch of vinyls. I got a bunch of the CDs. But this one I chose to show off because it's got some of my all-time favorite songs on here. Highway to Hell, Girls Got Rhythm, If You Want Blood, You've Got It. I mean, all of them have great songs on them, but I just chose this one because that cover rocks. It's an early Bon Scott one. I had a hard choice. It was between this Bon Scott one, High Voltage, which I also have on vinyl, and Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap. But I chose Highway to Hell because I've always loved If You Want Blood, You've Got It. Next, from 1978, the Blues Brothers, A Briefcase Full of Blues. So it's the band that started from Saturday Night Live with John Belushi, or Jim Belushi. Yeah, John Belushi and Dan Aykroyd. And this has got Hey Bartender, Rubber Biscuits, Soul Man, I Don't Know. Good songs on here, good bluesy stuff. I like all kinds of music, if you've noticed. Good stuff. Checked it out if you never checked out the Blues Brothers before. Alright, Alice Cooper, Constrictor from 1986. Classic glam rock Alice Cooper. Teenage Frankenstein. Thrill My Gorilla, Life and Death of the Party. He's Back, the Man Behind the Mask theme from Friday the 13th, Part 6, Jason Lives. Great album. Nice rockin' album. Really fun. And you kind of can go wrong with him. Got a snake in his mouth. But yeah, Teenage Frankenstein's a really good song, and that He's Back. If you've ever seen that movie, you'll know that one. Good album. From 1983, Rant and Rave with the Stray Cats. Another band I was a huge fan of in the 80s. Well, I still am. Brian Setzer Orchestra. This has, I think their only hit off of here was She's Sexy and 17. But I just listened to this album actually before I decided to make this video, before I threw in the Misfits, and it is all hillbilly rock music, and it's great. Great stuff. Ozzy Osbourne next. Blizzard of Oz, 1981, his first solo album. I chose this one because this is my all-time favorite of his solo albums. I Don't Know, Crazy Train, Goodbye to Romance, Suicide Solution, Mr. Crowley. Come on, those are all great songs, and if you know Ozzy, you know those songs. Wow, I'm already up to almost 15 minutes here. Alright, well, I only got 2 left to go here. Second to last here is Iron Maiden's The Number of the Beast. This is the first Iron Maiden album I ever heard. So I was happy when I found it at rummage sale for $2 to put it back in my collection. Now my favorites on here is The Number of the Beast and Run to the Hills. If you're an Iron Maiden fan, you got to check out this album from 1982. This actually has Bruce Dickinson as vocals. I have their two albums before this, and it's a different singer actually. I did not know that until I looked at it closely. And then finally, this one I'm going to have to show you. From 1978. And this one I actually have a different version of this record, so I don't wreck this one. Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band from the Beatles, Picture Disc. And that is, I paid $25 for this thing because I really, really wanted it. I'd never heard the album before. I listened to this once. Listened to it once and decided to go back to the record store after I realized how great of an album is, and I know I'm going to want to listen to it again, and bought their dollar normal copy that they had there. It's pretty scratched up and beat up, but it still plays perfect. Big songs in here is With All the Help from My Friends, Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. What do we see here? A Day in the Life, Good Morning, Good Morning. I mean, it's just a really good album. I don't know how to explain it. All I could say is check it out. You can find it on CD, find it on cassette, whatever. Buy it, listen. If you're a Beatles fan, you'll love it. If you're not a Beatles fan, you might become a Beatles fan. Well, that is my 20 most favorite albums that I own. And I decided to save that picture disc one for last because that is my pride and joy top owning one, is that picture disc. Alright, so let me guys know what you think. Do you like any of the bands I showcased here? Any of the singers? Did you love that album when it came out? Do you still like it? Comment down below there. Or leave a video response if you want to. That'd be really cool to see what you think, what your favorite vinyls are that you have in your collection, if you have any. Alright. Retro Data, aka Frosty Brothers out.